Wow. Hello and welcome to another YouTube tutorial with Obed Krampah. I'll be teaching IT, and we started with the web development. So web development, we started with the beginner stage of web development. We did HTML, then we moved on to JavaScript. I did the foundation and beginning of JavaScript. Now we are delving deeper into JavaScript, and today I'll be building a program. For instance, when you want to log into your Facebook account and you enter a wrong email address, it gives you a signal that email address invalid or email address error. That is the same with any website you want to enter. You want to log in your credentials and you input an email or a wrong password. That is what you get. So I'm going to teach you the code behind that, because JavaScript is used by all the tech companies: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Amazon. All the tech companies use JavaScript, HTML and CSS, which I'll be teaching you. Dynamic HTML is the front end of every website. Every website you go, Amazon, Facebook, the front page is built with JavaScript. So today I'm going to teach you how a simple code on email validation form, how you get that invalid, how that code is programmed. So let's get started. Let me minimize the screen and let's get started. All right, so let me be here. Good. Open our notepad++ and let's get started. All right, so this is the title of the program we are going to do: validate our Facebook login. All right, so let's get started. How do we do this? Let's declare a variable var user ID, and we move on to var password. I've already showed you the declaration of a variable. Okay, I will explain this code when I'm done. All right, user ID is equal to prompt. I think I have explained what this prompt means. Prompt, enter user ID, enter user ID. Right, put your comma here, make sure it's a comment. Let's go to password. Prompt, enter password. All right, I have already told you what this code we are writing is all about. Okay, just check the title of the code. So I have declared a variable here called var. I have declared a variable here called user ID, and I have declared a variable here called password. Okay, all right, so I have told you that when you declare a variable, you initialize it. So what shows that you are initializing a variable means you are giving the variable a value. All right, so this case I have explained to you that when you see the equal to sign in any code, it means that what the value of what is on the right hand side is equal to what is on the left hand side. Okay, it means that we are both are the same, both mean the same thing. Both the prompt here, the user ID here is going to store the value of what is on the right hand side. Okay, what I have highlighted. Good. So user ID is a variable which is going to store what we will enter here, and I'm using the prompt function. What is the responsibility of prompt here? Okay, what is the role of prompt here? All right, prompt here, right, let me increase our screen. Prompt here is going to pop up a dialog box on our web page which will tell us that enter user ID. All right, so when we enter the user ID will be stored in this variable called user ID. That is why I have used the equal to sign. It means I have assigned the value here that prompt will allow us to enter to the user ID, and user ID here is a variable because of the keyword var. So I have already told you to go and Google about var. So after we have done this, the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to give our code. What we will enter, we are going to give our code a conditional statement. So we are going to use the if else. If, all right, if user ID is equal to, let me write this after which I will explain, equal to Obed, and password is equal to Krampah. The Krampah is my surname, okay? Alright, if user ID is equal to Obed, I have told you that the equal to here, I've told you the equal to here is a logical operation. Okay, I've told you operators, and I've told you that I have taught you arithmetic operators. I have taught you logical operators. From here, I'll be teaching you assignment operators. Okay, so user ID here, the equal to here is a logical operator. Okay, and equal to means that user ID is the same value as this. It is holding the value of Obed. When you declare a variable, you initialize it. Okay, so user ID here is a variable, and we are initializing a variable means we are giving the variable a value. So whatever Obed stands for is the value of the variable user ID. The same applies to this one. The ampersand sign here, double here, is a logical operator, which means and. Okay, so if user ID is equal to Obed, and in programming, the double ampersand sign here means and. So now we have used if else as a conditional statement. If else is a conditional statement. Okay, I'll be teaching you more conditional statement. If user ID is equal to Obed and password is equal to Krampah, alert, I have taught you the function of the alert. So alert will pop up a screen, alert, login valid. All right, if user ID is equal to, when you use a conditional statement, you open a curly bracket. Okay, and you input when you open a curly bracket, you input your placement code, code placement, the condition. So this is the conditional statement we have used. Go and check the format of using if else. I am doing the practicals here. Okay, so just go and Google the format of if else. If I tell you to Google the theory, you Google it so that you understand, because what I'm doing here is the practical. I'm using conditional statement called if else. I'm using it practical here. So just go and read about if else, how to use if else, the theory, then you come and watch the practical. Okay, good. I can't be teaching theory here. If alert log invalid, all right, else what we are giving our code a statement. Okay, we are trying to say that if user ID is equal to Obed and password is equal to Krampah, a dialog box should pop out that login is valid. But the else means that if we input something which is different from Obed, and we input a password which is different from Krampah, another alert box should pop up telling us that login is invalid. So this is how we write it, login invalid. All right, so let's just save this work and run it. All right, we are done. Let's run this code and see what it actually means. Chrome, yeah, enter user ID Obed, enter password Krampah, login valid. All right, let's run it again. I'll enter an error password which I didn't input in the code. This is a user ID, which is wrong. I didn't add it to the code. Okay, so this is how Facebook validates your login. This is going to tell me that login is invalid. So when you sign up on Facebook and you input the right user ID, this code will assign your code to a conditional statement. So the day you go, any day you go on Facebook and you input a wrong email address or user ID, this code will tell you that your login is invalid, just as it has written here, login invalid. All right, so let's move on to another thing. Let's wipe this off. I'm going to do another coding. All right, validate login. Let's clean the title because we are done with this. All right, good. I'll try and see if today, the last time I tried doing this, my camera gave me an error. All right, let's try and open our notepad, our normal notepad. All right, our normal notepad. We are going to do a conditional statement called switch case. Switch case. All right, this is switch case is also a conditional expression, a conditional statement in JavaScript. Okay, the switch case helps us to use, instead of using a lot of if else conditional statements in our code, we can therefore use the switch case once and give our code a lot of conditions using the switch case. So this is the format using the switch case. So this is the format of the switch case. This is the format of the switch case. All right, we get to use the keyword switch. Go and search for keywords in JavaScript so that you don't get confused here. Switch. When we have switch, then we have switch value. This is the format. I'm trying to put down the value, the format. Then we have case. We have case value. All right, case value. Flow with me. We have case value. All right. When we have case value, then we have what? I'm putting down how to use the switch case in your code, in the format, the syntax. Okay, it's like mathematics. It's like a formula. When you have the formula for equation of a line, it doesn't change, it's constant. So this condition I'm giving you is constant. Okay, then we have your expression here, place condition here. All right, then we go to break. Good. So this is the format of a switch case statement. So I'm going to use it. Okay, all right, I'm going to use it, then I'll come back to this. Let's start rolling. So using switch. So today I'm teaching you another conditional statement using switch case condition. All right, the switch case helps you to use, instead of using if else, having a lot of if else in your program, you can use the switch case, okay, so that you omit a lot of if else in your code. All right, so how do we use the switch case? Let me show you how we use var selection. So selection here is a variable because of the keyword var selection is equal to prompt. I've already taught you prompt, okay, don't need to explain myself again. Prompt, I'm in a hurry to go somewhere, that's why. Then let me input this, enter a number. Okay, let me go to enter number between 1 and 2. All right, enter a number between 1 and 2. All right. I have told you that when I use the equal to sign in a code, it means that what will be placed at the right hand side of the equal to sign is equal to what is on the left hand side. So the variable selection is going to store what will be placed here. Do you get it? It's as simple as that. Just flow. Then we use the switch case statement here. Switch. You remember the format. I wrote switch, then I place value here. So we are going to input the value. Okay, yeah, so the value here is selection, because selection is storing when you declare a variable, you initialize it. All right, good. Now when you use a conditional statement, you open a curly bracket. It's very important. All right, and let's go to selection. You know the function of selection there. When you declare a variable, you initialize it. Initializing a variable means you are giving the variable a value. And prompt here, I have told you what is on the right hand side here is equal to what is. So what we are going to enter here will be stored in selection. So selection here will contain a value. Okay, all right. So let's use the case. Then we write 1. What do we write here? Case 1. It means enter alert. You entered 1. You entered 1. Then we go to break. Break. So case 2, after you have given the condition for case 1, you go to case 2. Alert. You entered 2. All right. After the alert, what do we write? You write break again. So it could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. All right, when you want to end it, you use the default keyword. Default is also a keyword. Okay, default is also a keyword. You go to default, then you write alert. So after the default, what you want the default to do for you, you want to write, I say enter. The condition was that prompt enter a number between 1 and 2. So default. So when you enter a different number, the program should print for you that default you entered an invalid number. Okay, it's in comments, so let's put the comments there. Comments. You entered invalid number. Good. So we are done with this coding. Okay, as simple as that. this is how to use the switch. Let's save our work and run it. Let's see what it gives us running it in Chrome. Hey, but we didn't use a comma somewhere. We made an error somewhere, or we didn't use a comma somewhere. Entered switch selection. Okay, case. This could be the error. All right, so when coding, you don't have to omit any sign, because this code, if you omit it, the program will not run, because this is how the program is structured. JavaScript is structured. So let's run it. If you have another error, we will come and check what might be the problem. Open a curly bracket and not save it somewhere. Okay, this is our close curly bracket. Script HTML body. Selection case. You entered one. Alert break case 2. Alert break. Alert default. Supposed to be, it's a keyword, so it's supposed to run. Wow, so the problem was just that column. Enter a number between 1 and 2. So 1. Alert, you entered 1. Have you seen it? Good. Let's run it. All right, when you run it again, we will get alert, you entered 2, just like our program told us. So when you enter a different number, you will get alert, you entered an invalid number, because the program was allowed to enter a number between 1 and 2. So we are done with this. So the problem why the program was not running was because we put a semicolon instead of this. Don't know the name, colon or whatever. All right, so let's wipe this off. Let's try and see if we can go to another conditional statement. I can teach another conditional statement. All right, good. My screen. Fix my camera. Let's go to what are we going to do? Let's go to the for loop statement. All right, we are done with this. If you don't understand this, when you get here, you pause the video and you understand it. This one is supposed to be all right. So this is the format. Now let's go to the for loop statement. This is also a conditional statement in JavaScript. Okay, the loop statements. Okay, this is a conditional statement in JavaScript. So go and Google the topics in JavaScript. When you get to conditional statement, that is what I'm teaching. I have done the switch case, I have done the if else, I have done couple. Okay, so couple of conditional statements. I've got to the loop statement. And you remember when we were in primary school, all right, you remember when we were in primary school, your teacher could your teacher could simply tell you that, right? Remember when you were in primary school, your teacher could tell you to write. I will not talk in class again for about 100 times, and you have to write it line by line until you get to the 100th number. All right, but I was trying to fix my camera, but wait, with for loop, with the for loop there. Okay, let me start with, there are 4 types of for loop. We have one, we have the for loop, then we have the 2, we have the for in loop, we have the 3rd one, we have the while loop. These are conditional statements, and I'm going to give an example on each of them. Or the while loop. Then we have the do while loop, all right, so let's start with the for loop. I'll give you an example for the for loop. The format of for loop is, you declare the keyword for, then inside the bracket we have the initializer. If you hear an initializer, it means that a variable will come here and we will assign a value to that variable, just as I taught you that initializing a variable means you are giving a variable a value. So when we put initializer here, it means that we will declare a variable here and we will give it a value. Okay, then the second part is what? The conditional expression, which we will give our for loop conditional expression. Okay, and then this is the post loop statement. This I'll tell you the function of post loop statements. Okay, the function of this post loop statement is to tell us whether our variable should increase or decrease. Put that down. The function of this post loop statement is to tell us whether our variable should increase or decrease. Good. Then this is not all the format. I'll go to the next thing you do here is put a place. When you use a conditional statement, you open the curly bracket. Okay, so let's open a curly bracket here. Then inside the curly bracket you place statement here. Place statement here simply means whether we are going to use the alert box to pop up a screen here. Place statement here. So this is the place where we will input our alert function when we are using the for loop. Place statement here, then we close the bracket. Okay, the post loop statement, don't forget I told you what is used for. It tells us whether our program should increase or decrease. So now let's create a program using the for loop. All right, let me wipe this off. For loop conditional statements explained. All right, from here maybe I'll be doing arrays, I'll be doing functions, so you guys focus, right? Good, let's go. Let me fix this. All right, so an example using the for loop statement. What do we do? Let's get rolling. I told you the format. So when you know the format, when I input something here, you shouldn't get confused. All right, I told you the format. Just go and look at the format and know what I'm doing. For the keyword for, the initializer, conditional expression, and whatever. So let's start, get rolling. Initializer, you have to understand initializer by now. Good. Then what? I think there's something I have to say. There's noise in my background, so if you hear a chicken or if you hear a cow or whatever noise in the background, you know that my neighborhood is very noisy. Good. I told you that when you use a for loop statement, a conditional statement, after that you open a bracket. All right, good. So now we are going to use our, if you understand the structure, you know what I'm doing. Everything is in order. I told you what will be contained here. and I told you what must be contained here. When you open the curly bracket, what must be contained here? Place statement here, document dot write. Do you remember the reason why I told you the idea, rationale behind using the for loop? I told you something. I told you that, remember, in primary school, your teacher will tell you to write, I will not talk in class again for about 100. Let me explain this better. You should understand why I'm using the for loop. Okay, I told you that, you remember that in primary school, okay, in primary school, your teacher can ask you to write, I will not talk in class again for about 100 lines, and you have to write it one after the other till you get to the 100 sentence, I will not talk in class. But with the for loop, instead of writing I will not talk in class for 100 times, when you use the for loop, you will write I will not talk in class for only once. Then you will use the for loop to increase it, to write that words 100 times for you. This is the best explanation I can give you. Okay, should I come again? I'm trying to say that in primary school we will be asked to write I will not talk in class for 100 times. By using the for loop, you can write I will not talk in class for only once, and you can use the for loop to print it I will not talk in class for 100 times. Good. So let me show you an example of what I'm trying to say. So we are here. Let me minimize this, change the lens, and let me get this. All right, so let's get it started. Wow. Let me write this code, after which I will explain. Hey, where's my queso? All right, good. So I plus 1. Good. I will explain what I'm doing, why this is in it. I plus 1. Then let me put the plus here. The plus means concatenate. It means add this to this. The plus, if you see plus in between two words, it means that add this word to this word. Okay, good. Then let me write I will not talk in class. I will not talk class again. Wow, good. I will not talk in class. All right, the comma here, the comma here, the comma at the beginning and end of the I will not talk in class means that is a comment. Okay, that is how it can be recognized. Okay, good. Then let me write document dot write. Then let me put my bracket here. Let me put this here. Let me put this here. I will explain why I have two documents here. Okay, good. So I have told you the meaning of this for loop, the format for this for loop. This place takes the initializer. I'm explaining it. Initializer means we will declare a variable, then we will assign a value to it. Then here is the conditional expression. The conditional expression tells you, look at the format. Conditional expression is here. The conditional expression tells you how many times our program should print. Okay, then the post loop statement tells you whether a program should increase or decrease. Okay, good. So the conditional expression tells you that our program should print 5 times. Okay, then the increment sign, this means that our program should increment. I have explained, I explained arithmetic operators to you. Then I told you that the plus means that increment. So when we put it here, it means that our program should increase. Then I have already explained at the beginning of JavaScript to you that we use document.write to print our programs. Okay, we use document.write to print our programs. All right, so document.write is going to print I will not talk in class again. But why do I have I plus 1 here? You see that we want to number the number of times I will not talk in class or print. Like when it comes, I will not talk, number 1, I will not talk in class, number 2, I will not talk in class. So we put this curly bracket here. Inside this curly bracket, that is going to print. The bigger curly bracket here is going to print I will not talk in class. But I will not talk in class must come in within this. This code will help I will not talk in class to print with number 1, I will not talk in class, number 2, I will not talk. The reason why we put I here is that I has been highlighted here. I is increment. So when it gives it number 1, I will not talk in class, I will increase it to 2 because I here is assigned to the increment sign. So it will print number 2, I will not talk in class, number 3, I will not talk in class. Then what's the function of this document.write? You see that when it prints on the first line, say first sentence, I will not talk in class, the document.write is in the break here, BR here is a HTML tag which stands for break and go to the next line. That is why to understand JavaScript you have to understand HTML. That is why I started with HTML with you. So if you don't understand this, whatever episode that I'm teaching is a reflection of the previous episode. Okay, good. So just learn the previous episode, you understand this. All right, so I've done it, I have finished coding. Let's save it. I'll say let's run this in our Chrome and let's see what we have. If we have an error, we will come back and fix it. Wow, I will not talk in class again, number 1. I will not talk in class again, number 2. Next time I'm going to put a space in between the numbers and the sentence. I will not talk in class. All right. This looks good, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. All right, clean it. All right, so I'm done with, I have finished explaining for loop statement in JavaScript. Good. And when you understand for loop or if else conditional statement or switch case conditional statement in JavaScript, it's the same with Java, is the same with Python. You are going to use the same thing in Java, you are going to use the same thing in Python. All right, the next thing I'll be teaching you is the assignment operator. Okay, assignment operator. So let me put down some work here. var, after which I'll come and explain it. Var is equal to 10 var. Now I don't have to declare a variable and come and explain what I'm doing. I've already explained the var. Then let me give you 2. Then let me go to a plus b, a plus is equal to b. All right, document dot write. I just created something. I have created this program because I want to go and explain assignment operators. Okay, so let me write here assignment operators. Okay, so I'll go and explain the theory behind assignment operators. When I'm done, then I'll come and explain this code. All right, good. So assignment operators, examples of assignment operators, examples of examples of assignment operator is equal to means assign. That's why all the time I have been using equal to in our program. I'm telling you that when we assign a value on the left hand side to the value on the right hand side, it means assign. It means this one is storing this value on the right hand side, the value on the left hand side is storing the value on the right hand side. It means whatever variable you see on the right hand side is having a value on the left hand side. Good. So examples of assignment operators. The next one is plus, equal to, no, plus and equal to. This one means add value and assign. It means add value and assign. Okay, so what would this mean? Subtract value and assign. Okay, subtract value, assign. Good. Multiply value and assign. Okay, when you have this one, it means multiply value and do what? Assign. When you have this one, divide value, it means divide value and do what? Assign. When you have the modulo sign, it means what? Modulo value and assign. All right, good. So in the code here, what have I done? Look at this code. I've used the plus equal to. You know what document.write means, right? It's an object method which is used to print information on the screen. Good. Plus is equal to. I've used an assignment operator here. Okay. Plus is equal to. This is an assignment operator. And what does it mean? It means add value and assign. Good. This is it. Add value and assign. So let's open our program and run it. Here, what do we have here? The value of A is 10 and the value of B is 2. So add value and assign. Assignment operator here, plus and equal to is equal to, means add value and assign. So it will add 10 to 2 and assign and give us the result. So let's save this work. Let's run it. Good. The answer is 12. 10 plus 2 is 12. It means the assignment operator has worked for us. So let's get this off and let's go to another project. The next project I'm going to teach you, I'll teach you the theory, then we'll come to practicals. Okay, so let's do something like arrays. Okay, the next topic is arrays. I'll not go and Google for the definition of arrays, but I'm going to explain arrays to you using a simple method. All right, good. You realize that I have taught you about when you want to declare a variable, you use the keyword var. So when we are going to use 500 items, okay, when we are going to use, I have not declared this. Let me go down and see that it does not. This is the var keyword. Let me take it off. When we want to use 500 items in our program, example as var, then we go to, we write orange, var, we write banana, var, then we go to pineapple. Sorry, I'm not going to write the correct spelling. Okay, just have var, then we write something. It means that var, okay, let me put var, then let's put something. It means that whatever is here, var this is a variable, var this, because the keyword is going to, the keyword will declare all of them as variables. But it means that we are going to have a lot of var. Var will appear in our code a lot of times. Var is going to appear in our code about 100 times. Var is going to appear. Whatever variable we want to use var. There will be a lot of var in our program. Okay, but with arrays, you only declare one var. Okay, you only declare one var. Then you can use it for numerous times, countless times. Okay, yes, the format for, let me give you the formula for declaring an array. We have var, then we have the variable name. So var fruit. After the fruit, we have equal to, then we have new. Okay, new array, then we put the constructor here. Okay, this one here is a constructor. It helps us to create object of our array. The constructor, this one here is a constructor array, and the constructor array helps us to create object of our array. Creating object of our array means that we can put variables here. So I declare fruit, we can put orange here, we can put banana here. You can put apple here, because we have this. We can have constructor, we can create object of array, and when we create object of our array, I told you that fruit is a variable, and these ones are object of the array. And it means that when we are going to use a lot of var in your program, we can only declare one var, and all the rest will become variables. Fruit is a variable. Now these ones has also become a variable. It means as they have become a variable, when you declare a variable, you initialize it. It means that orange, banana, and apple here can have values, because variables must be initialized to get a value. Okay, the new year is instance. It helps us to create an index for the new year. It means you should create a new index. It's an instance. It means it should help us to create an index for this, and the index of an array starts counting from 0. In programming, numbers start counting from 0. Okay, so when the index of our array here will become orange, will become 0, then banana will become 1. All right, then apple will stand for 2. Okay, good. Apple will stand for 2. Okay, yeah, apple will stand for 2. Exactly what I mean. So anywhere we want to call orange, when we say fruit, when we write fruit, then we assign it to 0. We are calling orange. So in this case, we are not going to declare another var orange, var banana, var apple, but we are using array to assign all these as variables that can have values. Okay, so when we call fruit 0 in our program, it means we are referring to orange. So now we will use, I told you that the constructor, when we declare array as var, the next one is the name of the variable, then the next thing that comes is the equal to sign, then the new will come, then the array will come, then the curly bracket. This bracket is where the object of our array will be placed. The object of our array will be placed here. Okay, so when the object of our array is placed here, because I told you that when you have an object of an array, you can now write methods and property for this orange and banana and apple. Because they are objects, you can write methods and properties for them. Good, because orange, so I'm going to state again, objects of an array can have properties and methods. Good. So in our next episode, I'm going to give you an example of coding with properties and methods. This ones here, I have told you that now they have, when you call 0 here, it stands for orange because we have declared array. All right, good. So this is the theory behind array. Instead of using a lot of var, let me explain array here. Why I've given you the theory of array. Instead of using a lot of var number 1, var number 2, var number 3, which simply means that we are declaring a lot of variables, we can declare an array, and instead of using a lot of var number 1, var number, we can only use one var and create an object with that constructor and have them as variables and give them values. Okay, good. So instead of declaring 20 var in your program, you can declare only one array and assign values to them. Okay, and let's end with arrow and let's go to the theory of functions. Functions helps our program. This is a topic in JavaScript. Functions helps our program to modify itself, okay, to look simpler. Function, the declaration or the definition. What am I typing? Of functions begin in the head tags. Alright, so the declaration of functions begin in the head tag. That means it will start from here. Function, example, function logon. So logon is a function now. Okay, logon has become a function. Good. The declaration of start function begins in the header tag. Alright, so when you declare a function like logon, I'm explaining the theory behind function. So let me put this function logon. Alright, then functions takes argument. Okay, so the logon here is a function. It means we have declared function. The functions takes argument. Okay, functions takes argument. So the argument will be placed here. Arguments will be placed at where I've put it. Functions takes argument. Okay, and the argument arguments of functions are variables. Let me explain this. So functions takes argument. In this parenthesis, if you put something here, it is called argument of the function logon, and the argument of the functions are variables. So anything that will be placed here is a variable. It's a variable. I'm explaining the theory of function for you because in the next episode I'm going to code with functions. Okay, so it's a variable. Good. So fine, we have the function. Let me declare another function as function increase salary. Good. Then I'll place something here. Whatever comes in between the parentheses of an argument, whatever comes in between the parentheses, this is the parenthesis. Between these parentheses, it's called argument, and arguments are variables. Okay, so when I have old salary, then comma new salary, then comma, no comma, I want to only have two arguments. These are two arguments. Okay, but functions can take multiple arguments. Functions, put this in my functions can take multiple arguments. All right, functions can take multiple arguments. Okay, and the arguments are variables. So these ones here are arguments of the function called increase salary. Increase salary is a function because we are using the keyword here called function. Okay, and these ones here are arguments, but they are variables. When they are put in the parentheses here, they are variables. So any variable also can have a value. So it means that old salary here and new salary here can have a value because they are variables. So when we want to assign a value to this variable old salary and new salary in our code, what we will write here is increase salary. Then we will write, we put into the parentheses, we write 5, then we put comma here, comma, then we write 100. Good. You see, the increase salary here is a function because this keyword here is a function. It makes this one looks a function. And when you declare a function as increase salary, when you declare something using the function keyword, function is a keyword. Okay, now you want to pass values to these variables here. These variables here are called arguments of the function. Good. Increase salary is the function because it is behind the keyword function. So now 5 here is the value of old salary, and 100 here is the value of new salary. That is how we declare a function. So in our next episode, I will explain how to use function in coding. Okay, this is just the theory behind function. Functions takes argument. The argument of functions are variables, and you can use the keyword function. You can use the function declaration definition to assign values to the variables. That is what I wrote. Increase salary, then into the parentheses I wrote 5 and 100. It means 5 is for old salary and 100 is also the value of new salary. Let me close this. Okay, we are done for today. Our next program will be functions. All right, we are done for today. Good.